Star Fox 64 is one of my favorite video games of all time. I remember playing this when I was a kid very fondly. All the characters felt very real. They all had their own personalities, they all had their own quirks, they all related to one another differently. For example, Fox and Falco were more rivals, always kind of butting heads.
Hey Einstein, I'm on your side! You worry about your own hide. I guess you're good for something.
Peppy was like the mentor to Fox. He was like his father figure because James McCloud is gone, or so we think.
You're becoming more like your father. This brings back memories of your dad. Never give up. Trust your instincts.
There was also a larger story beyond the plot of the game that you were taking place in. There was a backstory. You felt like something bigger was going on than what you were seeing just in the plot of the game. It felt like a movie. It felt very cinematic. Seeing it again as an adult with my big adult brain, I see that there's a lot of cinematic references going on in this game. And 95% of them are from Star Wars. I just want to make a fun little video about all the cinematic references I noticed in Star Fox 64. There may be others. I'm not going to claim that this is an absolutely complete list. I've noticed everything. I'm sure there are some geeks out there who know more about this than me. I'm just having fun with this. Here's what I saw. All the Star Wars movies open with the famous scrolling credits through space, and so does Star Fox. It's not as slanted like it goes back into space, but, you know, we got the opening crawl through space, giving us the backstory. Another interesting thing I noticed is that when I put them on my editing timeline, they basically take about the exact same amount of time. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but interesting. In Star Wars, Luke and the rest of the Rebel Army fly around in what are called X-Wings. In Star Fox 64, Fox McCloud and the rest of the Star Fox team fly around in what are known as Arwings. So you got the X-Wing, Arwing, that's a similarity, and they look pretty similar. Not exactly the same, but they both have that same long nose section and wings in the back, kind of like a fighter jet you would see here on Earth. Certain moments throughout the Star Fox 64 game, when you know the fighting is going to get real intense, Fox tells his team to take their R-Wings into all-range mode. Their wings open, which I guess gives them more mobility and speed or whatever. In Star Wars, they basically do the same thing. I don't know if they call it all-range mode. Maybe there's some other Star Wars term for it that someone else knows that I don't. But if you notice, the X-Wings open. It's kind of the same idea, making them more like an X. You know, it gives them more mobility or whatever. Another famous Star Wars spaceship-related visual is when they jump into hyperspace. And they say punch it and all the stars start to get long and they go doof. They basically take that right from the Star Wars movie, put it in Star Fox. It's not in many scenes. I think they only do it once or twice, but one of the main moments I notice it is at the end of the asteroid field level when you hit all the bonus things and you get a bunch of speed and you're spinning, and the final one you go off into the bonus level, we see this. Look at that. It's basically the same. That's pretty cool. One of the similar story beats between Star Fox and Star Wars is that at the end of the original Star Wars trilogy in Return of the Jedi, Luke goes to face the big bad guy, the Emperor, and in his final moment of desperation, when he's about to be killed, his father steps in and saves him. While Star Fox 64 may not follow that beat for beat and have all the same story going on, it follows a very similar structure where Star Fox goes to the big bad guy Andross's evil planet Venom, and you have a big boss battle with him, and when Andross is finally defeated, he does that cliche bad guy thing where he says, "If I go down, I'm taking you with me." The screen goes white, all is silent, and then...
Don't ever give up, my son.
James McCloud, Star Fox's father, who he thought was previously killed while fighting Andross, shows up out of nowhere and guides Fox out of the exploding tunnels. That moment still sends chills up my spine. I feel like in real life, in your moment of desperation, when you feel like you have nothing left, James McCloud is just going to show up and say, "Don't ever give up, my son." We all need a little James McCloud sometimes. So anyway, as you're racing out of Andross's exploding tunnels, we see a very similar scene to the end of Return of the Jedi. We see the flames coming up right behind the ship as he's speeding out, and then an explosion, and the ship flies out. And then we get a wider shot of the whole thing blowing up. Star Fox basically follows those three famous shots right there, beat for beat. Really cool to see those side by side. This next one isn't completely similar to Star Wars, but it's close enough that I felt like including it. After you defeat Andros and all is well, the credits are rolling, you're going to go to a ceremony and receive an award. The Great Fox, Star Fox's main ship, is flying over the city of Corneria, this planet that he saved in the beginning, and we see these jets making this colorful rainbow thing in the sky as kind of a celebration, and the Great Fox is flying over the city in this big grand way. While that's not the exact visual that happens at the end of Return of the Jedi, we do get a montage of various planets and spaceships flying overhead that are celebrating after the big bad guy has been defeated. You do see some fireworks in the sky, lots of colorful things going on, so felt like including this one. I feel like they're similar enough. At the end of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, we get a scene where Luke, Han, and Chewie show up and receive a medal of congratulations from Princess Leia and the other Rebel Alliance. We get basically a shot-for-shot copy here where the team is walking into the ceremonial corridor, and then it cuts and they're walking down a big line of other soldiers from the army who are there saluting them, paying respects. As they should. Star Fox saved their ass. Star Fox 64 came out in 1997, a big spaceship alien-related movie that came out a year prior in 1996 was Independence Day. That movie was a big box office hit and had many famous scenes and visuals from it, so Star Fox felt like nabbing a few visuals from that movie. This is one of the few non-Star Wars references in Star Fox that I could find. So on the level where you gotta protect this base here and Star Fox's friend Bill shows up with his army to help out, we get the shot of this big alien mothership coming over this pyramid fortress thing. And that looks a lot like the shots in Independence Day when the big spaceships are coming to loom over the cities. On that level, if you win, that fortress thing does not get blown up. But if you lose, you get another visual that copies Independence Day very closely. The bottom of the alien mothership starts to light up. It's charging its laser, it's glowing. It also looks very similar to the shots of how the White House blew up or whatever other buildings were blown up in that movie. The laser goes down, we see the skeleton of the building and then explodes. Very similar, also very cool. Besides the cinematic visuals in Star Fox 64, one of the things the game is known for is its creative and unique banter and dialogue between the various characters. Some of these lines seem to very closely copy some of the most famous lines from Star Wars. Check them out.
We need your help, Star Fox.
You're the only hope for our world.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
I got a bad feeling about this, Fox.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
A really bad feeling about this.
Don't get too cocky, Star Fox.
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Be careful, it's a trap.
It's a trap!
When Star Fox's team is flying around their spaceships, a lot of the dialogue going on between the various pilots of the ships seems very similar to lines of dialogue from Star Wars when they're piloting their ships. Check it out.
Check your G-diffuser system.
Stabilize your rear deflectors.
All aircraft report. All units report.
All wings report in.
At the end of every level, Star Fox will say, all aircraft report, and then you get little banter, little dialogue from each of the various team members. And that reminds me of how in Star Wars, they'll say, all units report in, and they'll be like, red 1 checking in, gold team checking in, blue team checking in, or whatever they say. I know that's just a lot of generic fighter pilot banter, but it seems to fit this pattern here. One of the coolest levels in Star Fox 64 is the big boss battle, the final level where you're fighting Andros on the planet Venom. Some of the dialogue from this final level of Star Fox seems to very closely mimic dialogue from the last of the original Star Wars trilogy when Luke is fighting the big bad guy towards the end of the movie. Check it out.
I've been waiting for you, Star Fox.
I have been expecting you.
It's foolish to come against me.
It is pointless to resist.
You've become so strong, Fox.
Obi-Wan has taught you well.
Never give up. Trust your instincts.
Trust your feelings. Use the Force, Luke.
I know you could write some of that off as that's probably just generic villain dialogue, like everyone says, I've been waiting for you, or it's foolish to come against me. Yeah, every villain says that at some point, but when seeing how stuff in this game relates to Star Wars, that also very clearly seems to fit the pattern. If you are a Star Fox 64 aficionado or Super Star Wars nerd, once again, I am not claiming this to be a complete and thorough list. This is just some of the stuff I noticed as I was rewatching some of these scenes. I hope you enjoy this. I certainly know I did, watching these scenes from Star Wars and Star Fox again, bringing up a whole bunch of nostalgic feelings. I feel like I gotta go play that game again for old time's sake. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.